running. Shit. Get the shits off him. Get the shoes off. Get the shoes off. Get the shoes off. Get the shoes off. Back up. There it is.
Persons must immediately leave the area by traveling to the east. Failure to adhere to this order may subject you to arrest, citation, or confiscation. To tear gas and/or weapons. Leave the area immediately.
The terror organization Antifa continues its campaign in major U.S. cities, promising to spread into smaller towns. Citizens are terrorized wherever Antifa goes, and yet they enjoy the duplicity, the complicity of the mainstream media and left-wing politicians. Why can't we just get a divorce? Why can't we just divorce ourselves from these people? Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we need in this country. A divorce, and it's coming. I mean, you wouldn't, put up with this if it was your significant other burning down the house. Ladies and gentlemen, something must be done. I think we found our favorite video of the year. Let's play a little sound here.
Fucking level up! Fuck yeah!
That's enough! That's enough!
Hold on.
That's enough!
Wait for it.
Fucking level up!
Oh,
Fuck yeah!
that guy's a fucking hero. That's what we need. More action like that. The sound, I mean, that could be like the sound on your ringtone. No problemo, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while since we've covered the news. We're going to be going back to the other ScrewTube channel probably tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of news to cover, and be sure to check out our latest videos on our website, stfnreport.com. I mean, they're censoring you on the internet, and now they're censoring you in the real world with these masks, with the house arrest. What shocking footage from the Love Boat. Looked like it was sinking a little bit yesterday. What is that? What creature is that, ladies and gentlemen? It's scary to think that this is the face that is destroying America. And look at this. Look at these terrorists with their guillotine and the like. They're holding up signs, Black Lives Matter. Not a black person in there, ladies and gentlemen. And it's funny because they like to associate guillotines with the Boogaloo for some reason. But obviously this is some kind of leftist terrorist thing, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Portland Antifa accidentally lights fellow comrades on fire. That's, it's what we like to see. We've seen that before, and we've seen it again. Spectacular. But, you see these people basically launching weapons. How long will it be before they're, sniping at people or sending Ryder trucks full of explosives to, your downtown? This terrorist organization must be reined in. And of course, the FBI and other officials are completely complicit with what this terrorist organization does. However, if you're, a conservative, they will level terrorist charges against you, as we will see. But look at the devolution, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the zombie apocalypse. It's begun. Very sad faces indeed. What is the video guy doing, ladies and gentlemen? Nobody knows. Not sure what to say about all of that. hide the Zuckerberg. Now this was pretty excellent.
Hey, brother. I love you, brother. I appreciate it, bro. So all you niggas, whites and brown, beaners, tacuaches. See, I'm Mexican. I can say, what's up, nigga? ¿Qué pasa, güey? ¿Qué pasa? You saw shit. Hey, you saw shit. Hey.
That was nice. What else we got here? Oh, this was nice too. This is like virtue signaling.
The fucking face with the skateboard as soon as you say the N-word. Because you can't say it. Niggas. You got it on camera? Did you, Asher?
So he basically asks him to say the N-word, and then he clobbers him with the skateboard. Says, you can't say that. That's essentially, you know, the psychosis that we're up against. And look, it's, you know, wonderful to be young. We all do stupid things as young people, but perhaps he should focus on the death towers, the pedophiles, and the pandemic, for starters, ladies and gentlemen. Justice Department charges 2 with plotting to support Hamas shoot cops in Minnesota. You know, when we saw that, ladies and gentlemen, we were like, oh, you know, we gotta check that out. That sounds exciting. You know, it sounds like the old days, the war on terror and the like, Osama bin Laden. Remember that? Justice Department charges 2 plotting to support a terrorist organization in Minnesota. And it's weird because Minnesota has got all these terrorists there. And, you know, they're from Somalia, and they've basically elected themselves the office saying how awesome bin Laden was. I'm sure you've all seen the tapes. But here we go. 2 Americans in Minnesota, the last 2 white boys in Minnesota, charged with, you know, terror. They say they have ties with a far-right extremist group. Everybody that is not a libtard is a far-right extremist group. But it's weird because this is on Fox News. And they say that they were plotting violent attacks in Minnesota, my home state. Michael Robert Solomon and Benjamin Ryan Teeter. Notice the 3-2-2. You know, it's like skull and bones. Were taken into custody Thursday night, Minneapolis, the Justice Department said. You have to wonder if this is even a real story. These are real people, or if this is just propaganda. Prosecutors say the men are part of a group called the Boogaloo Bois, a faction of a subgroup known as the Mujahideen. This doesn't even exist. These are words that are basically, you know, made up. They're as meaningful as whatever. Boogaloo Bois, Boogaloo Mujahideen. Allegedly conspiring with Hamas to sow discord amid racial justice protests in Minnesota by shooting cops, blowing up a courthouse, and killing politicians. Now, you think about what the left is doing, essentially. You know, they're blowing up courthouses, buildings, and none of the people on television are really like, oh, that's a terrorist organization. Instead, they kind of like associate it with the hippie movement, and they say, like, you know, these are peaceful protests. I mean, do these look like, you know, peaceful protests? But these people are not terrorists. However, these people that conspired with the FBI are terrorists. Now listen to this. It says, the defendants allegedly built firearm suppressors. What was that, like empty Coke bottles? That they believed they sold to Hamas and would be used overseas to attack U.S. forces. They also offered to fight as mercenaries for the group to earn cash for new member recruitment and to buy land for a Boogaloo training compound. Ladies and gentlemen, sounds like Dearborn, Michigan. Solomon and Teeter met with an FBI informant acting as a member of Hamas. So here we learn that in fact they weren't dealing with Hamas. They were dealing with an FBI informant pretending to be Hamas. So it gets weirder They expressed, okay, and the informant expressed the terrorist group's mission aligned with their own anti-government views. So this guy is just making shit up. He's just like, oh yeah, our group, it aligns with your anti-government views. You know, most conservatives are not, you know, anti-Holy Land. And so the story just really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Had this been like some kind of leftist terrorist organization like Antifa or, you know, ISIS or, you know, Benghazi, I think people would have understood that. Authorities said, authorities, you know, they use the word authorities, but what they really mean are libtards with like an FBI access card or something like that. They say authorities, but what they really mean are libtards. And that's the danger here. That's why we need the divorce, because they love saying authorities. They love to say the U.S. says, you know, when it's just like libtards on the microphone saying, oh, conservatives are terrorists, right? But you will be targeted, ladies and gentlemen. Authorities said the men hoped to execute a number of violent plans targeting law enforcement, allegedly, probably while they were high and drinking at the bar, and, you know, the so-called FBI informant is just like writing it all down, recording it. Government agencies during the protests following the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man who died in police custody. According to an affidavit, Teeter and Solomon came up with a plot to blow up a county courthouse in northern Minnesota. They came up with a plot, like on a pizza napkin, like a napkin on the back of a, you know, or should we say, you know, did the plot just show up on the back of a napkin from a pizza joint? But they say here they came up with a plot to blow up a county courthouse in northern Minnesota to make a statement, but then delayed that plan. Solomon later said, I want to murder a bunch of U.S. politicians. That's the statement I want to make. Who says that? When the informant asked him to explain, Solomon said that he would build a gallows in front of the Congress building in D.C. and start hanging politicians left and right. Wait a second. Wait a second. We saw something like that before. Not sure where it all went. No. There. Yes, there they are with the gallows. But see, these are Black Lives Matter people. So how is it that, you know, when these people do it, it's not a terrorist organization? But if anybody else talks about, you know, the gallows, the guillotine, then it's automatically a boogaloo, extreme right, you know, terror organization. But they wanted to build a gallows and hang politicians left and right. I think everybody says shit like that. How is that terrorism? That's, you know, part of being a citizen. Oh yeah, bring them to the gallows. I mean, they've been doing that for hundreds of years. How is that now an act of terror? I think the real terrorists are the ones that are running these bureaucracies, ladies and gentlemen, and these news organizations. Teeter said he can shoot from a distance, adding, you can't stop threats that you can't see. You know, everybody says shit like that. I'll get you later, bitch. You know, I mean, people say stuff like that. That's not, well, they probably do qualify that as terroristic threats, but there's such a thing as free speech. You're allowed to say what you want to say, in theory, but no court in the land will uphold your constitutional rights because you don't live in America anymore. You live in some kind of communist nation run by libtards. And that's a fact. And, you know, they can, you know, say whatever they want. That's why we need a divorce, because, you know, the terror from these people is only going to get worse. Now this is on Fox News. You know, the terror is only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen. What else do we have in the news? Sure, we got plenty. Oh, we got some more rabies out there during the... See how you just picked that guy up? Oh, look at that. It's like Hulk Hogan. Look at that. It's going to crush his skull. Yeah, it's getting real, you know, exciting out there. And again, this guy's a fucking hero. Dude with the cigarette. Just look how, I mean, he does this all with like the smoke still in his mouth. And he's even got a gun too. He could have just, you know, shot the bastards, but no. It looks like this was some kind of like, you know, prayer meeting out in the park. And it just got ugly. But this is the new America, ladies and gentlemen. Every day is Halloween. Welcome to COVID-19. But, you know, in these big cities, I mean, cops are taking mortar fire. You know, it looks like fireworks, but, you know, there's been some severe burns and injuries and the like. And, you know, these people are terrorists. We got to see Hillary on Instagram, and it was quite excellent, to say the least. And it gives us kind of like a view into, you know, their world a little bit. Not in prison, but pretty close. You know, fake book speech blackout against Rittenhouse defenders threatens due process. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Everybody's a little concerned about, you know, the censorship online as well as in the real world. Now we found out that you know, the Antifa that was shot dead by the cops, Mike Reinhold, he was actually waiting to ambush Jay Bishop and his friend out there. And so, I mean, these people are out to kill you now. That's how this terrorist organization works. Bill Gates, of course, disappearing from the news. You know, he was a villain in the 90s. And then he came out and he's like, oh, we're going to vaccinate all the children in Africa and we're going to save the world. And he became some kind of hero to the left. And now he's, you know, been exposed as being the main vaccine salesman in the pandemic. And now everything's been scrubbed. You cannot even talk about Bill Gates. This video will self-destruct just for mentioning Bill Gates now. So, yeah. You know, reputation is a tough thing to earn. Let's see. Child snatching vans discovered. You know, was it really? Hard to say. Looks bulletproof though. Soundproof. And, you know, there's no telling what you can do with a van these days. Especially with the Antifa. Now this was really cute. The lemming cycle. And it's essentially, you know, increased testing, increased cases, increased panic, demand more testing, and it just continues. But, you know, we talked about that a little bit in yesterday's broadcast. Be sure to check out the archives. 2 more months like this, and Trump will carry New York. We just don't know what the elections will bring. You can't imagine people voting for, you know, Biden, but they voted for Hillary. Horrifying video. Tesla reportedly ran out of control on Chinese city streets and mowed down, you know, 12 people. 3 were killed, at least. 8 have been injured. And that was as of yesterday. So, Boogaloo crews everywhere. This has just become the new thing, you know, and it's just people exercising their rights. And it's nice to see the American spirit out on our streets, you know, preparing for what comes next. And everybody knows what comes next. The mainstream media, the devil television, will try and convince you that everything is awesome, but you know what's coming, ladies and gentlemen. Dark winter is coming, to say the least. But this is Louisville, and you know, there was a few kind of moments with the Black Lives Matter militia out there. But essentially, black people know what this system is about. And, you know, I think we'd be better off just like hooking up for the time being and taking down this system. But we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. Hawaii has legalized death pods, just like the movie Soylent Green. A little bit like, you know, Superman or maybe Star Trek or something, you know. But how many people will, you know, opt out of life thanks to this system? They make life so unbearable for you. And then they're like, here, just step into the chamber. you know. We'll call it suicide. We talked about the COVID brain damage yesterday, and we talked about COVID Dan and his links to the Communist Chinese Party out there, part of the pandemic. Very interesting. We talked about the hypocrisy in the UK. I mean, those people are not free. None of them celebrate an Independence Day, to say the least. And Oregon police confirm Antifa gunman concealed himself in a garage, waited and watched for Trump supporters to walk by, and he killed him. The riots in Melbourne, the look, you know, of, you know, the Cobra commanders, the COVID commanders out there. And they've got the funding, ladies and gentlemen. But, you know, confronting the police is really just kind of like a waste of time, essentially. You know, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. If you're at 3 stars, 4 stars, you know, it's too late. You gotta, you know, take off and reset. And so, really, you know, people need to be focusing on the players of this pandemic and, you know, the links that are out there. You know, choose your targets wisely. Brain deficits, nerve pain can torment COVID patients for months. This is mostly in people that are above 45. From the statistics that we see, people under 45 are not really affected by this virus at this stage. And so most of the people on the internet are under 45. Therefore, you know, public perception on the internet is really going to be that there's no virus. And, you know, a lot of people out there are like, well, even if there is a virus, it only kills like 1% of the people, or if even that, so what's the big deal? And, you know, think about it if it was like airborne HIV, where it takes 8 years for cases to go from asymptomatic to full-blown AIDS. Would you think it's not a big deal if, you know, everybody was infected with airborne AIDS and nobody died within the first few months? And so, you know, we don't know what is going to happen, but it's sticking around, ladies and gentlemen. What's this? The college crowd partying it up. We'll have to see what this winter holds. That's really going to be the key to the future a little bit, is what happens this winter. Is it totally mild and, you know, less than last winter, or, you know, is it about the same or worse? I think we'll find out. Check out our website, stfnreport.com. Check out this PubMed article. Talks about a mumps vaccine. The reason for the high incidence of vaccine-associated meningitis due to this vaccine was because of enhancement, vaccine enhancement. That's what we can expect with the vaccines that are coming. Neuropathogenesis and neurological manifestations of coronavirus in the age of COVID-19. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. And what else we got there? You know, Democrats, they're for killing babies. And that's really a thing, you know. You think about all these people, they're like, you know, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. And they're out there like pushing for, you know, killing babies and the like. And it's just like, you know, where's the humanity? It stops there for most people, I think. What else we got? Mayhem everywhere and the like. The elections are coming, right? Oh, check this out. Mechanized exoskeletons being tested right now, and they look like this. What's coming? The secret connection between Bill Gates and Epstein, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta find out, what is this? Oh, this guy gets, you know, this is basically Black Lives Matter, essentially, just like that. What else we got? That was the of course they like to administer CPR after they, you know, shoot a bunch of holes in the guy. That way it just kind of drains the blood out faster. So beware of, you know, the CPR after the shooting. Let's see. Look at that one. Huh? Well trained. I mean, what a wonderful world we live in with, you know, kittens so cute. How many of you are cat lovers out there? Look at that. Huh? What else we got? When the people fear their government, that is called tyranny. When the government fears its people, that is liberty. That's the American way. You know, most people in government these days have really no idea what it means to be American. These people were Christians. It was right there in the founding documents, and you see all of these people running around like, oh yes, let's kill babies, 2 men plowing each other is awesome, let's assimilate mankind and, you know, turn everything into a GMO. You know, these people are wicked, man. Rebecca Judd slammed, they say, for Dictator Dan comments. Who slammed Rebecca Judd? Was it, you know, the shills on TV? Did they slam her, body slam her onto the, you know, concrete? So we talked about the Melbourne thing, you know, the past couple broadcasts. Be sure to check that out. I'm sure, you know, that story will continue to develop as the lockdown continues. And that is not a tornado. This is some kind of thing like oozing out of the industry, so to speak. Supposedly. I don't know, the industrial complex. Maybe it was a tornado. Hard to say. What's this? Oh, yeah, this is the... Everybody saw this, right? Where the girl's like, I was given a piece of paper. We saw a press conference yesterday where Biden was just basically doing a mock, you know, kind of like questions and answer thing. And whenever he got kind of stuck, I mean, he would look down at the script and he'd be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to say, and continue on. And it looked, you know, more professional. But be on the lookout for that. More churches are burning in America. And, you know, this is why we need a Christian homeland, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why we need a divorce. I mean, we're not going to be able to raise our kids as good little Christians with these Luciferians running around trying to molest them and groom them and pump them full of devolution and Satan Claus, Santa Claus, and the like. So we need a Christian homeland. That's what people are, you know, unifying for. And that's the goal. You know, we're supposed to leave, you know, a better world for our children, and instead we're turning it into, you know, some kind of science fiction flick. And so we need to restore order, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see, you know, this is what you basically see on TV, right? And you're like, oh, hey, but this is what you're actually getting. I'm not sure if you can really see that, but check out our website, stfnreport.com, for more. Zuckerberg. And let's see. I think we pretty much covered it. We're kind of getting into the old news, but lots of stuff here to cover. Be sure to check out our website, stfnreport.com. Be sure to check out the EMF 390 if you don't have one already. Reduce your exposure to EMF. You'll be glad you did. And right now it's only $129 direct from the manufacturer through our affiliate program. So you want to check that out. I mean, usually we talk about it a lot more, but the news has been pretty intense and they've scrubbed everything 5G. Tell us if you have a 5G death tower in your neighborhood now, if one is coming. Maybe you live out in the boonies. All you got to worry about then is the Elon Musk, you know, Death Star grid, ladies and gentlemen. So, but, you know, we'll come back into EMF and all of that someday soon. Ideas are more powerful than guns. We would not let our enemies have guns, so why should we let them have ideas? That's, you know, that's the communist way. That's why they're censoring you on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate everybody tuning in to this broadcast. Think while it's still legal. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.